Imagine standing at the edge of your own life, as if you were on a cliff above an endless ocean. Below you, the waves crash like your worries, the storm of deadlines, fears, and expectations. You ask yourself, how do I stay steady when everything pulls me down? This is not just your question. It is the human question. And 2,000 years ago, Stoic philosophers asked the same thing. You wake up tired, yet the day demands your strength. Your phone floods with messages. Your mind races with what-ifs. Fear of failing. Fear of not being enough. Fear of losing what you love. These storms live in all of us. But you are not weak for feeling them. You are human. And it is precisely here, in this storm, that Stoicism becomes not just an old philosophy, but a lifeline. Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, they lived in a world of wars, betrayals, and uncertainty. Yet they discovered an inner fortress, the art of mastering the mind. To them, peace was not found in escaping life's storms, but in standing firm within them. This video is not about escaping reality. It is about meeting reality with strength, wisdom, and calm. In this journey, you will discover 7 timeless Stoic principles. Each one is a tool, a compass, a shield. By the end, you will not only understand Stoicism, you will feel its power shaping your own choices, your calm, your courage. Master yourself, and you will master your life. Let's begin. The first Stoic principle is this: embrace discomfort as training. Seneca wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." The Stoics believe that every challenge, every sting of pain, every trial is not punishment, but preparation. When we stop running from discomfort, it transforms into the very forge that shapes our strength. Seneca reminds us, difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. Just as muscles grow only when tested by weight, the soul expands only when pressed by trials. Comfort feels safe, but it breeds weakness. Discomfort feels harsh, but it teaches resilience. Every obstacle becomes a teacher if you are willing to listen. Picture a Roman soldier in winter, walking barefoot through the snow. He trains his body to endure, so when battle comes, his mind will not falter. The Stoics lived this way, deliberately choosing small hardships, fasting, sleeping on hard ground, so that when real storms arrived, they were already prepared. In our world, discomfort might be a tough conversation, a failed project, or a restless night. Instead of avoiding these moments, treat them as training. Practice patience in traffic. Practice humility when rejected. Practice courage when uncertain. Each discomfort is a weight on your soul's barbell, making you stronger if you choose to lift it. Today, choose one discomfort deliberately. Take a cold shower. Skip a meal. Have that hard conversation you've avoided. Each act is not suffering. It is strength training for the soul. Embrace discomfort not as an enemy, but as a teacher. For when you endure, you rise. When you embrace hardship, you master yourself. The second Stoic principle is this: master your perspective, and you master your reality. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Life does not dictate our suffering, our interpretation does. Change your perspective, and the very same storm can become a source of strength instead of despair. The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Imagine your mind as cloth dipped in dye. If the dye is fear, it stains everything dark. If the dye is courage, the whole world shines with possibility. What you choose to think, you choose to become. Your perspective is the lens that colors reality. 2 travelers walk the same road in the rain. One curses, convinced the day is ruined. The other smiles, grateful the rain cools his journey. Same storm, different worlds. Perspective does not change the rain, but it changes the traveler. The Stoics teach us, reality is filtered through the story you tell yourself. In daily life, perspective decides whether rejection is failure or redirection, whether traffic is torment or a chance to pause, whether loss is devastation or a teacher. We cannot control every event, but we can control the story we tell about it. And that story is the difference between despair and resilience. Today, when challenge strikes, Pause and ask, what perspective empowers me? The storm may not fade, but your lens can transform it into fuel for growth. Remember, you do not see the world as it is, you see it as you are. Master your perspective, and you master your life. The third Stoic principle is both sobering and empowering. Memento Mori, remember you must die. Marcus Aurelius wrote, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Death is not a distant shadow but a constant presence, reminding us to live urgently, fully, and meaningfully. You could leave life right now, Marcus says. The words sound harsh, but they free us. For if we accept death's certainty, we no longer waste our hours on vanity or fear. Awareness of death sharpens life, turning ordinary days into treasures. Each sunrise becomes not routine, but a gift. The Stoics often practiced meditating on mortality. Soldiers marched into battle carrying reminders of death, not to despair, but to focus. For them, death was not an enemy, but a compass, guiding them toward courage and clarity. Like a torch in darkness, Memento Mori points us toward what matters most. In modern life, we avoid thinking about death. We fill our days with noise, screens, and endless plans. But remembering death is not gloom, it is wisdom. It reminds us not to delay forgiveness, not to postpone dreams, not to waste today in trivial distractions. Death whispers, live now. Tonight, write down one thing you would do if you truly remembered your time is finite. Then do it. Memento Mori is not about fearing death, it is about fueling life. When you live with death in mind, you live with purpose in your heart. Remember, the clock is ticking, and that is your greatest teacher. The fourth Stoic principle is this: turn obstacles into opportunity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. The Stoics believe that life's barriers are not walls. They are doors, waiting to be opened with wisdom and strength. What stands in the way becomes the way. Imagine this truth. The obstacle is not your enemy, but your ally. Hardship sharpens resilience. Failure builds wisdom. Rejection redirects toward better paths. Every roadblock is a teacher disguised as struggle, if only we have the courage to see it. Consider a river faced with a boulder. It does not stop, it flows around, over, or through. In time, the stone becomes part of the river's song. Likewise, the Stoics taught us to treat obstacles not as dead ends, but as redirections. The challenge becomes the path itself. In our world, obstacles may look like a failed exam, a lost job, or a broken relationship. The first reaction is despair. But look again. Failure may push you to new learning. Job loss may lead to reinvention. Heartbreak may lead to growth. The obstacle you hate today may be the reason for your strength tomorrow. Today, take one obstacle in your life and ask, how can this become my teacher? Write down one way to transform it into strength. This is Stoicism, not escaping struggle, but forging resilience from it. Remember, the obstacle is not the end of the road. It is the road. The fifth Stoic principle is the discipline of desire. The Stoics taught that much of our suffering comes not from life itself, but from craving what lies beyond our reach. Epictetus wrote, freedom is secured not by the fulfilling of men's desires, but by the removal of desire. When we learn to master desire, we master ourselves. Freedom is secured not by the fulfilling of men's desires, but by the removal of desire. Epictetus shows us that endless craving is slavery. Each time we chase what we cannot control, we hand over our peace. But when we align our desires with reason, seeking virtue instead of vanity, we discover true liberty. Seneca wrote of wealth, it is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor. Imagine two men, one with little yet content, the other with riches but restless. Who is truly rich? The Stoics remind us that discipline of desire does not diminish life, it enlarges it by freeing us from endless hunger. In our modern world, desires multiply endlessly. New gadgets, endless likes, constant comparisons. Social media whispers, you are not enough. Advertising screams, buy more, be more. But the Stoic discipline of desire is radical. Want less, live more. Freedom comes not from adding to life, but subtracting what poisons it. Tonight, write down 3 desires that bring you peace and 3 that bring you anxiety. Then, commit to pursuing the first and releasing the second. This is Stoicism in practice, not the denial of joy, but the redirection of desire toward what truly matters. For the disciplined soul is the free soul. The 6th Stoic principle is the mastery of emotion. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." The Stoics did not deny emotion, they disciplined it. To master yourself is not to kill feeling, but to command it. Anger, fear, and grief may knock on the door, but wisdom decides who enters. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. These words are a shield against chaos. The Stoics knew we cannot choose every event, but we can choose every response. Emotion is fire. It can warm or it can burn. Discipline turns fire into light. Think of Marcus Aurelius in the heat of war. Surrounded by betrayal, loss, and fear, he wrote in his journal, not with rage, but with reason. His emotions served him, they did not enslave him. This is the Stoic way, to be emperor of yourself before you rule anything else. In our modern world, emotions erupt in traffic jams, online arguments, workplace tensions. To master emotion is not to be numb, but to be sovereign. When insulted, choose dignity over rage. When afraid, choose action over paralysis. When grieving, choose depth over despair. Emotion obeys the one who governs wisely. Tonight, when emotion rises, pause before you answer. Breathe. Ask yourself, will my reaction serve me or enslave me? Then, choose the response that makes you master, not victim. For the Stoic truth remains, he who conquers his emotions conquers himself, and he who conquers himself conquers life. The 7th Stoic principle is to live in harmony with nature and reason. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Live in agreement with nature." To the Stoics, nature is not only the forests and the seas. It is the order of the universe, the logic of reason, the rhythm of life. To live against nature is to live in conflict. To live with it is to find peace. Live in agreement with nature. This means accepting reality as it is, not as we wish it to be. Storms will come, seasons will change, people will rise and fall. The Stoic seeks not to resist the flow of life, but to align with it, to move with grace instead of rage, with reason instead of rebellion. Think of a tree. It bends with the wind, but does not break. It follows the law of nature, rooted deep, reaching high. The Stoic is like this tree, grounded in virtue, flexible in adversity, aligned with the natural order. Harmony with nature is not weakness, it is wisdom. In our time, living with nature and reason means slowing down in a world that rushes, listening when the world shouts, and acting with clarity when others panic. It means using reason as compass and accepting reality as terrain. You cannot force the wind, but you can set your sail. Tonight, ask yourself, where am I fighting reality? Where can I align with it instead? Live not as a rebel against the order of things, but as a partner with it. To walk with nature and reason is to walk in peace, in strength, in truth. Harmony with nature is harmony with yourself. We began this journey with the call to embrace discomfort as training. We learned to master perspective, to remember mortality, to transform obstacles, to discipline desire, to govern emotion, and finally, to live in harmony with nature and reason. These 7 Stoic principles are not ancient relics. They are living tools for your daily battles. Think of how far you can go when armed with these truths. The Stoics did not promise a life without storms. They promised the strength to stand within them. Each principle is a shield, a compass, a torch. And when practiced, they turn ordinary moments into extraordinary acts of resilience. Now it is your turn. Do not only hear these words, live them. Choose one principle today. Write it down. Practice it in the smallest act. Let Stoicism move from theory into practice, from words into action, from knowledge into power. Your assignment is simple. Tonight, reflect. Ask yourself, which principle do I need most right now? Embrace discomfort? Control desire? Master emotion? Then, tomorrow, act on it. Stoicism is not a philosophy of words. It is a philosophy of deeds. Remember, master yourself, and you master your life. This is the promise of Stoicism. This is the strength within you. Stand firm, walk wisely, live fully, and carry with you always the light of reason, the calm of courage, and the freedom of a disciplined soul.